Hey guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman YouTube channel at my back garden. Now today I'm going to do kind of what I've been having in isolation. Now I've been very lucky that my wife is a hairdresser, so she can cut my hair for me. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to do a very short crop on coal. Now I'm going to do it through my fingers, but I'm going to work down to basically finger length. Okay, so it's roughly about an inch in length on the top. And then I'm going to work down to what I've been having as a 1 on the back and sides. My wife doesn't feel too confident to go down to 0 just yet, which I understand. She's, she's a hairdresser, but she's new to barbering too. So work a 1 all the way up quite high, and then just nice and short on top, working with the fringe as well. So not keeping the fringe longer, just having it an overall 1 length through the top and a little bit of texture in there, just if you want to add a product if it's growing out. What I've done is I have shampooed and conditioned coal. So again, 2 shampoos, 1 conditioner. And we're going to start by working through the top, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a section just before coal's crown. So I'll turn that round. You'll be able to see that is where my section is. So coal's crown is there. I've just gone a little bit, tiny bit before it. I slide the section across. Now I'm doing roughly about the length of 4 teeth of my comb. Okay, so the wide teeth, about 4 of them all the way through. I'm going to pick it up. I'll place my middle finger on the top of the head and I'll cut to that length. So I'm going to point cut into this just because I like that kind of broken up texture to the ends. Okay, so again, following that is my guide behind it. You can see that. And then cut to match to the previous guide behind. Again, just trying to keep on top of the theme here really of just sort of going shorter and shorter. I'm just trying to hopefully give some guys out there a bit of inspiration throughout this kind of lockdown isolation period. And I think it's just nice to see and a time to experiment really as well. So if you have shaved your head, this could be a nice one to work through as it's growing out. And the reason why I'm taking the fringe off as well is because it gives a shorter appearance to this haircut. Now you could do the same length on the top here and leave a bit more fringe, but I always find if you take the fringe off, it gives that shorter crop look. A fringe can sometimes be the thing that makes it look longer if you keep a fringe in. If you look at the shape of my fingers, I'm following the shape of Cole's head. Now this works for everybody. So you just follow whoever is in your chair, you follow the shape. So as you can see, my fingers are starting to angle more forward now. They were originally like that, but I'm starting to angle them more forward now to follow the contour of the head, okay? And this is how you remove more length. Then we get to the last one on the fringe, coming from the back, and bring it straight out towards whatever is in front of you. Towards me, the fringe up, and just point cut into the fringe as well to really break it up. When you watch any of the videos that we do, and we do a over direction at the front, we keep all the length on the fringe. But as you can see, when you bring your fingers forward and you angle them following the shape of the head, you cut the fringe short. It's all the same length going towards the back as well. So same thing again, picking it up and using the guide from the left hand side. So I rest my fingers on the scalp, you get the guide there. You'll see it in a couple of more sections if you can't see that there. Still getting grips to doing Liam's job on the camera, so thanks for being patient with me guys, because I'm not a videographer. I don't have the lovely Liam standing over me getting them perfect angles, so thanks for your patience. Doing our best here guys. Now if you were to clipper this, if you did fancy going for the same kind of thing but obviously with say a clipper, say you like the kind of feel of the clipper or whatever it is, or you don't, or you say you're in isolation with someone who doesn't feel confident with a pair of scissors or whatever, you're looking at like kind of like, I'd say a number 8. Okay, if you've got any professional clippers out there, it's about a number 8. This is kind of length that this is my summer haircut. This is the thing that I go for in the summer. The number 8 on top, take the fringe off. Kind of, it's been a perfect haircut for me during this time at the moment, because you just get up and walk out and that's it. If you want to pop a bit of product on, you can. It's just a nice easy haircut, but it's not a haircut that is kind of like going to look like you've been kind of, brutally attacked by clippers, you know what I mean? It's not that kind of like sort of number one all over kind of look, you know, which for some people could look a little bit too short. So I always find a number 8 is quite nice, especially if you pair it up with like say a 1 or a 0.5, even a fade on the back and sides, keeping it low. It's always a nice haircut to have because it is that kind of short crop without it being too extreme or aggressive, you know. There we go. So that's matching up quite nicely there. Now again, doing the same thing on the sides, just working my fingers completely flat against the head. Doing a lot smaller sections now because obviously we're working to shorter hair down the bottom. And I'm going to finish when I get back to the first section that I made just before the crown. I'm working on this bit of the fringe here. Again, as you can see, I'm mirroring the angle of my fingers. My first section was just here. My next section's here. So again, we're keeping it nice and close. We don't want to leave any longer length through this. We want it to be pretty much the same length all over, but with obviously that kind of point cuff finish. You see, the fingers are starting to follow the round of the head now. Work around to the front. So you bring my fingers, so starting up straight and gradually bringing them forward. I'm going to work front to back now. I just find it's easier for me. Some people do like to sort of work around this way, but I find it's very uncomfortable when I'm working around if I don't feel right doing it. So I was always taught to do it the other way. And when I get to the fringe, I'll turn it back around this way. Bring the fringe back over to me slightly. I'm going to work this way, so again I'm following the hairline. And now my last section is through the sides now, from the front. So I've got my guide from the fringe I just cut. I'm working back to my section at the crown. There we go. So I'm going to just use my comb for this. Pull the comb down like that, rest it on the forehead and just point cut into it, okay? And just match up. Just follow the hairline round. Again, I want this to be all even, just creating that nice choppy finish to the fringe. So again, got a bit of fringe, but you still have that kind of crop effect to it. I'm just working over it, just to break it up a lot. So I haven't wet it down since the last time because it's starting to air dry, because that's always good to start seeing exactly how the haircut's starting to sit when it starts to dry off. Again, you've got to take into account what the client will be doing. He might not be using a hairdryer, he might be letting it dry naturally, and you want to see how that haircut looks before it's done. I think sometimes air drying it is probably the best thing for that, because it lets you see exactly how the hair is going to fall naturally, more than with heat or direction. I'm working around the fringe. Being very visual with this one, creating the choppiness that I want to. I like to have quite a choppy fringe when I'm doing something like this. There we go. So that's cut to match. Fingers going straight in to the base and just working to the finger. What that'll do, and just pull out your fingers. What that'll do is just help to really break up the fringe as well. See that really nice choppy finish to it. Like that. And then straight in, so no angle of the scissor, straight in towards you. And work one bit across, pull your fingers out. One bit across, pull your fingers out, and then work from a different direction. And that'll just start to break up that fringe, just layer, layer, layer. And then we have a nice choppy fringe to that as well. There we go. That's what I'm going to do. I've got my guide coming all the way through here. So I'm going to work from the crown, through my fingers, and cutting vertically to match. Now I'm going to work slightly around the head here because it's going to go quite short. So what I'm going to do is take sections just across the round of the head and just cut to match. Take the crown out, because then you're not worrying about cutting it. So that's why I always send a section away from the crown on a horseshoe, or if I'm working from the top, I pull the crown away, it's cut just from before the crown. And then as it's starting to dry naturally and we're starting to work through the natural shape, I always tend to do the crown either last, but obviously because we're doing quite a short haircut, I'll do it now. And I cut it as it's starting to dry, so I can see exactly how it's starting to fall, and I'm also cutting it in the way it falls. You know, there's nothing worse than when you see like someone's kind of crown cut too short, or, you know, it changes the whole sort of profile. Now, I've cut the crown to match through the back, and I'm just going to take this last section where we obviously sectioned off the crown. We're going to leave a point at the crown. So if I show you that, there's going to be a nice point. So we haven't cut the crown yet. As I pick that up, there's the crown there. Okay, that's the point. Now, with coals, I can get away with going short on this because it's not going to stick up. So what I'm going to do is just a little tiny bit. I'm just going to cut from the crown and pull it towards me. So I'm over directing from the crown towards me. So I'm still leaving that crown with a bit of length in it, just at the crown, at the point of where it grows out. So that's still got a little bit of length through there. And I'm going to do the same again this way. I'm going to over direct the crown towards me and cut it here again. You've got that nice point coming through there. And what that's done is it's cut the crown shorter. It's not noticeable that there's a tiny little bit left longer because you can't see it at all. But the good thing is it's not sticking up. Now, if you watch this one, another good one you can do if you've got a problematic crown is pull it from just in front of the crown, pull it towards you, and you'll have a slight point there as well. So you can cut that, but you're just not cutting the crown. So it's not going to stick up. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the hairdryer on this, dry it off, and then start on the clipper work. So working from the crown, drying it out. And there we go. Dried that off. Now, I'm going to be working down 201. So I'm going to start with a high 2 and then blend my 1 into my high 2. So I've got a guide all the way through here that I'm working to blend to, and then working my 1 up and off. Okay, so number 2 on first. I'm working up into where I left my blending point. So if you pick that up there, there's the shortness from the top. I'm working up and off to that to give that nice high and tight short crop effect. I'm working around to the other side now, following my guide. I'm working up and off, following the head shape, and then working up to my guideline, okay? So I'm just following the shape of the head, and I'm working up to my blend point. 1 guard on now, working lever down, 1.5, I'm working up to just before that 2 line there, okay? Working up and off, like that. Scoop and motion, up and off. So I was teaching my wife this technique when she was cutting me hair, because she has got a background in barbering, but she's more focused on colouring and hairdressing. And I was telling her about this kind of rubbing technique where you basically just put the guard on, no matter what it is, 1/2, 1.5, whatever, place it flat, and you just use the back of the guard here, just place that flat on the head and just scooping up and off like that quite quickly. You basically just feel as though you're rubbing against the back like that. So what you're essentially doing, if you watch on the mannequin here, when you're rubbing it, you're using the shape of the guard to blend for you, like that. So you're not going in and then out. You just place it flat and just work up and off. And you can't go any higher than where you're coming off at. So you can't, it's very hard to make a mistake that way as well. If you watch this, like that. No matter if I go higher up, I'm not going to take any more off because I'm using the back of the guard and just pulling off at the head, round of the head. And then I'm down to my 1 now. Working up and off. Same effect. Working just up and off. I get to that 1.5. Work up and off. Working around the ear using the corner of the clipper. There we go. Now I'm going to blend in this 2 to the top. Purpose of making it easier, I'm going to start where I've got the right hand side, where I've got my blending point in. Now I normally would start from the back, but just for the purpose of what we're doing, while we can do something different now, we've got a client in the chair who isn't paying, so I'm going to start from the right hand side and work to the middle, and then stop at the middle, cross check, and then start from the middle to the left hand side. And pick it up, and I'm working to the fringe. The fringe is here, so I'm working, that's where my level point is. So I'm working up into the top. Okay, so working from the 2 up into the top. Now working up. So you can do it either across the comb like this, and work up and off the head. You can work up like this and pull it off, just as long as you make sure the comb is staying the spine of the comb is staying flat. I'm working off and around the head, not aiming the teeth around. You'll get a nice square finish. You see I can work it off like that. Obviously nothing comes through. And just work right over. Just work down a little bit of scissor over comb just to make sure it's all balanced. This goes down to a 2 in length. So I know that when I'm working across here, I'm not going to go too short, no matter how hard I press against the scalp. Just going to point cut into this a little bit. I'm going to place it on my comb like that. Just because it's quite thick at the crown on Cole's hair. So I'm just going to point cut and work through. Just to break up that kind of blend. Just so it isn't too thick looking. Then just cross-checking again, so just working up and off. And just point cut in, slide in, hair through the comb, slide in, lift it up, flatten that behind the comb to flatten it through the comb, and then just break it up so you get that nice little choppy finish to it. Point cut into that crown, just take the thickness out, and then just work down, scissor over comb. There we go. Nice. Now, through the top, I'm just going to add a little bit of thinning out, a little bit of texture to it as well. So what I'm going to do there, again, same thing I have done to me, is switching up combs now to my all-round cutting comb, which this is a Matador 42 comb, okay, anyone asks. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide in with the scissor, pull it back just from before the crown, and cut into the top, and point cut in. To thin it out as well, is slide in with your comb, pull it back, and point cut at the root as well, and that helps you just thin out the hair. You can see the hair coming off my comb there, but it doesn't leave chunks, okay? So don't do very close sections, just do wide sections. Just point cut in, just to help thin that hair out. Nice wide sections, as you can see. Point cutting in at the scalp. There we go. Comb that out. That just helps to create a little bit of broken up movement in that as well. As you can see, there's a little bit of texture coming through there as well, so it's a good one if you do want to grow it out. Work scissor over comb, coming in, point cutting straight through, another one, flatten that down, point cut in, get into the fringe as well, flatten that out. Now last bit of the crown, because his hair isn't going to stick up, I can get away with just point cutting into that because obviously he's a mannequin, so it doesn't grow out too strong. As you can see, that sits nice and flat. Just taper that down a little bit. But I did that on a haircut beforehand, so that's why it's so short now. That's pretty much it, guys. Now I'm just going to blast it off with a hairdryer, get rid of all that loose hair, salt spray, and a little bit of heat. And just use my fingers just to scrunch dry to show off that nice short crop texture. Working the circle at the back. And that, guys, is my finished crop. You've got a nice short fringe, got a nice texture uniform through the top. It's just something that you can grow. You don't need anything in it. A little bit of salt spray. Again, this is a low maintenance short crop that I have. I don't really put product in at the moment. Just again, a little bit of salt spray. Just replicating what I do, really. This is the kind of haircut that I tend to go for. Especially throughout the summer. We are coming into hot weather. Hopefully we'll be out of lockdown for the summer as well. And there we go. That nice short crop. Very textured fringe. Or front, should I say. Anyone watching from America and whatnot. And that way you just have a nice bit of texture in there as well. So nice number one around the edges, blend it up nice and high, show you that. Shorter crown but still keeping head shape in there as well. Spin that round to that side, so we get a nice short crop effect on there as well. You can see all that texture, no product in it at all. It's a little bit of salt spray, it's only a base, but you can see all the texturizing technique has really helped create that texture in there as well. So a nice little coming out of isolation short crop trim.